Paso, Texas, used to have extremely high rates of violent crime. With a powerful barrier in place, El Paso is one of the safest cities in our country.
And the president pointed out El Paso last week as a reason for building a border wall.
Tonight, though, he is going to be in El Paso for his first campaign rally of the new year. And city and state leaders from El Paso hope that the president is going to talk to the community to clear up what he said during that State of the Union address last week. FBI crime data actually show that crime rose after that fence was built in 2008.
We need to control our borders, and that fence is a part of that whole process, but it's not the panacea or the end-game solution.
Okay, the president is holding tonight's rally at the El Paso County Coliseum. Then 2 hours before that rally even starts, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke plans to join a march protesting the president's visit. They're going to gather at a local high school, and then they're going to rally outside of the president's venue. Traffic is expected to be so bad in that area that the Border Patrol is encouraging travelers to just avoid the nearby border crossing altogether. KXAN's Phil Prazen continues our coverage from El Paso.
Good morning. Should former Congressman Beto O'Rourke decide to enter the Democratic primary for president in 2020, he would instantly become a top-tier candidate. He has the second largest online donor database after Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. That is something that could turn into hundreds of volunteers very quickly. But he hasn't committed to the idea yet. He's only said that he is excited about the idea.
After his narrow defeat to Republican Senator Ted Cruz, O'Rourke went on a vision quest of sorts, driving around the American West, talking to small groups, and blogging about his experience online. Last week, he went on Oprah to say he'd make the decision by the end of the month.
I'm as hopeful, I'm as optimistic as I've ever been.
Really try to educate the rest of the country and also the rest of the state about what the reality on the border is.
Ileana Olguin is the El Paso County Democratic Party chair and helped organize Monday's march. She says few people know his thinking, but his supporters will support him if he does nothing or if he runs.
I think it's very important for Beto to stay engaged, even if he decides that it's not time for him to run for president, because he brings a very unique perspective.
But if he jumps into the field, there are things that could hold him back. One, there's already a Texan running for president, Julian Castro. Some in the Democratic Party in Texas want Beto O'Rourke to run against Senator John Cornyn for Senate in 2020. Two, it's already a crowded field. We're expecting more than a dozen candidates to get in when this thing is all said and done. And three, there is criticism from the progressive side of the Democratic Party, who thinks that a white man should not be the face of the party when there are more diverse and more qualified candidates available at the present moment. We'll find out if he's going to be one of those candidates, though, later today. In El Paso, Phil Prazen, back to you.
Okay, our in-depth coverage on the president's visit continues later on today with live updates starting at 4:30 this afternoon. The march to the president's campaign venue, that starts at 6. The president's rally starts at 8. We will live stream both events on KXAN.com.
The president